Is up, and welcome back to the third episode of Siobhan Speaks Social. I am your host, Siobhan Bonds Patterson. I used to be the host of The Boss Life with Bonds, but after being an entrepreneur for maybe 2 years, I saw where it was going. I saw the kind of people that I was around, and I saw the way that they thought. And it was literally pipeline from entrepreneurship, red pill content to MAGA. And when I realized that the people that I was aligning myself with on my route to success were all mainly conservatives and all slowly but surely convincing me of selling out, that's when I had to pump the brakes. That's when I realized that the way I'm building my business is not in alignment with what I want to do. So this is going to be a quick episode because my phone is up there dying, or I'm going to continue recording on my laptop, and you can check the full podcast out on YouTube once I download it later today. But what are we talking about today? We're talking about the fall of our empire. If you saw the last episode, I was talking about how, is this the end of the world? Like, what the fuck is happening? Every day feels unreal. I look outside and my sky literally looks dark and gloomy every single day, and I live in Florida. So I don't know if this is the planet just trying to speak to me, trying to speak to all of us and let us know we're on our way downhill. Or another thought that might be a silver lining for some of you is this idea that maybe the world isn't coming to an end. Maybe this is the end of an era. Maybe this is the end of a season, and maybe it's the end of a broken system that so many of us have been screaming is broken for so long. Many of us say that the system's broken, but a lot of people say it's not broken, right? It's working exactly how it would need to. And if you think about it, right, if this is the system that America has created to keep us confined, right, this is the system that they created. If you look across the world, you see other people in positions of power. When in history has the ruling class ever ruled to give the little people more power? That doesn't happen. So it's very funny that we've been sitting around waiting for the elites, waiting for the government, waiting for people whose literal power is contingent on our complicitness. Is that the word? Their power is contingent on their ability to control us. And I'm going to get a little sidetracked. If you've never listened to me talk, I'm neurodivergent as fuck and I'm unmedicated. So one thought is going to take me down 13 other rabbit holes. And if you want me to finish one, just type it and bring me back to it. But when it comes to being able to control the masses, something that became painfully clear to me, why they don't like minorities, why they don't like trans people, why they don't like fat people or anybody else that doesn't fit in the picture perfect model box of what a human should be, white, Christian, thin, right? It's very hard to control large groups of people when there's so many different outliers, right? When you have to make so many adjustments to so many different types of people. And just as a business owner, I've been able to sit back and watch and see, oh, now I see why they want us all to conform. That is a product of hate? Or is it perhaps that it makes it a lot easier to control people when we all look the same and act the same? And so when I was starting out as a young entrepreneur, and all the spaces that I was in, all the business coaches, all the successful business owners, all the entrepreneurs that I was around, when I started to get close to them and realize that the majority of them were conservative, and that in order to be in proximity with them, slowly but surely, I would have to deny certain parts of myself, certain parts that I believe to be true, so that I could, right? So I could hang with them and I could be successful like them. And we learn this in church, right? They teach us in church, you got to die to yourself to become more like Christ. So someone like me who's been indoctrinated their whole entire life with this mindset, when I get into a space where they're promising me a better life, they're promising me more money, they're promising me more success and more influence and safety and security, right? Of course, my mind is going to be like, oh, well, I can't listen to what I've always known because what I've always known kept me broke. But if I listen to what they're saying, well, they're successful, and my business coaches told me that success leaves clues. So maybe I should follow what they're doing. And I ate that shit up for literally maybe 2 years into my entrepreneurial journey before I was like, what the fuck is going on here? This doesn't feel good. Their answer for everything was just raise your prices. Their answer for everything was some sort of exploitation of the people that I'm here to serve. So when I look at our nation's leaders, the people that we elect to be public servants who haven't served a damn thing in their life, it now is painfully clear to me how we got here. We keep electing people that really genuinely don't give a fuck about us. They are never going to develop a system that actively gives rights back to the people, because in doing so, and this is what they truly believe, when we gain rights, they lose them. Now we all know that that's not usually how that works. Nobody's actually losing rights, but it is this perceived idea that they're losing rights, and that's why they're so worked up. That's why they're all so loud and proud MAGA, because they've been convinced that if we get rights, if we get anything, then they're losing something, which we know just isn't true. It's just a tactic of a manipulation that those at the top use. They create propaganda that creates fake problems like immigrants and, oh, blacks versus blacks and blacks versus whites and Hispanics. You don't have to like blacks, and Asians don't like anybody. They create these problems amongst the little people down here so we can just keep on arguing. And as long as we're arguing, we're not organizing. And as long as we're organizing, we're not making any moves. We're not going anywhere. And that's where we've been for a long time. When I look across the aisle and I think about the Conservative Party, and I look, and there's more Black conservatives than you guys realize. I went on YouTube since I've started podcasting again, and I was just looking at the people on YouTube, and I found this dude named Dom Lucere, I think, Lucre, Dom. He's a Black MAGA, and it just breaks my heart, because I honestly don't think that he believes the shit that he's spewing, but he's getting money and he's growing an influence. And that's where people like Snoop Dogg, maybe not Nelly, I don't know, I'm not going to speak for them. But when I look at what they're doing, I'm like, at this point, they are so far removed from not just the little people that they had to step on to get here, not just the people that were in their shoes before them. They are so far removed from all others in humanity that they're no longer focused on what sort of impact will my actions have on them. We keep idolizing and electing people, but mainly idolizing in the form of celebrities. And even on Instagram, we keep idolizing people that don't have good morals. That's how we got here. Since I got online, I have been screaming like, guys, y'all gotta stop idolizing people that are not good people. You have to stop giving these people your attention, your likes, your follow, your energy, because you are creating the problem. You are part of the problem when instead of giving your support, your attention to things that matter, instead of giving your support, your attention, your money, your energy, your sacrifice to things that actually help make the world better, you feed into these Kim Kardashians, you feed into these Snoop Dogs. And so when they get so high and mighty and highfalutin that they are so far removed away from you, you help do that by propping them up and giving them so much attention. We help push them up and elevate them far away from humanity. I'm not saying it's all our fault. What I am saying is that we have to be like, we're a part of this. We're all connected. And that is the primary message of everything that I'm going to talk about every week, whether it's race, whether it's religion, whether it's politics, we're all connected. And every action that you do affects somebody else. And as long as we're out here moving, acting like nothing that you do affects anybody else, it's always going to cause trouble for everybody else, because no one's thinking of anyone but themselves. But let's get into the actual show notes, okay? So on last week's episode, I was talking about, is it the end of the world? And I don't think it's the end of the world. I think it's the fall of an empire. I think it's a fall of an era. And those of you that know scripture, hi, Bible college student, the pride comes before the fall. We all know that. And so as I'm watching this empire that looks like it's going to be crumbling right before our eyes, I'm not sad. I'm not even weary, like, oh my God, what's going to happen next? One, my ancestors lived through this and worse without internet. Right? They lived through this and worse without internet and without guns. I think we're gonna be okay. Number two, this is necessary. I'm a personal trainer, and one of the things that we have to do is I don't break people down to build them back up, but a part of what happens is they work out and they get really sore and it hurts and it's painful and they gotta heal and they gotta recover, and guess what? They get back up and they come do it the fuck again. And that's what humanity. That's what humans do. We break and then we build ourselves back up. And so in this season of what it looks like the fall of the democracy, or the fall of our empire, we're falling because we've been prideful. Can we talk about how prideful Americans are? You all know it. I used to go to a mega church. I used to be a part of a huge mega church here in Orlando. And every year we did fine arts competitions with our youth. And that's where I came in. Like, I was bringing all the hood kids in and all the kids that nobody else wanted to work with, because I could relate with them, because that was me. And I started highlighting Christian hip hop artists like Andy Mineo and Lecrae before they got really big. And I would make little hip hop dances for the competition so that the students would want to have a reason to come to church. And we were a mega church. So we had lots of money. We had the best music. We had the best costumes. We had the best everything. And when we would go compete, everyone hated us. All the other small churches everywhere, like, we're supposed to be a Christian organization, but everybody hated us. And they had good reason to, because we were prideful. Our church was so cocky that we win everything. We have the best stuff. And I'm looking and I was like, My church is a little baby America. All over the world, people don't like us because we're loud, because we're arrogant, because we're cocky, and because we think we have everything figured out. And while I was in that church, once again, like after a few years of it, my heart was like, something's not sitting right here. Y'all aren't doing this right. This isn't okay. And I kept calling it out. I was like, hey guys, are y'all gonna stop catering to only the white people? Hey, are you gonna talk about black issues? Are you gonna talk about Hispanic issues? Are we gonna ever house these homeless? Because we just built this mega complex and nobody's allowed in it, but yet homelessness is rampant in Orlando. Are we ever gonna do anything about that? No, 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 no. Okay. That's who we are. And now flash forward a few years later, that church is going through it. That church is going through it racially. That church, lots of churches all over the country are going through declining numbers, going through men, women, especially minorities leaving the churches because the pride comes before the fall. And when you're so prideful that you can't accept correction, when you're so prideful that you can't listen to someone trying to tell you, hey, you're going in the wrong direction, your fall is inevitable. It may not be immediate, but it is inevitable because the universe don't miss. So speaking of the fall of our empire, another topic that came up with me and my homegirl as I was training her today, she's talking about the veil being torn, right? How things that were done, like today, Donald Trump getting rid of the Civil Rights Act, I can't even be mad about that because one, I fucking told people this was going to happen. Number two, laws don't control people. They just make more sneaky people. Kind of like rules don't make your kids behave. Rules create sneaky kids. And so all of these rules and mandates where they try to force people to be not racist, you can't make a law that's going to change someone's heart. Christians still haven't learned that, damn it. Like Jesus literally came because Christians were trying to follow the laws, trying to put the blood on the walls, trying to do the sacrifices and do all this stuff. And they were still pieces of shit. And Jesus came and was like, hey, you know what? You don't even have to do all that because I'm right here. Y'all can talk with me. But to this day, Christians are still out here trying to make people righteous by living by laws. Nobody became a good person because they were forced to. Just like nobody's going to become educated or woke because we're forcing it on them. That's a comeback bonds. I almost went on another side tangent. I might get to that one later. But more rules and laws is not going to change the hearts of people. So as cool as it was that we got the you can't discriminate law, a piece of me had been wondering recently a lot. Hey, was integration the best thing for us? Because they didn't want us there. They don't want us there. They've never want us there. They still don't want us there. When they give us bad service when we go out to eat, you know what that is? Because they never wanted to be integrated. When they give us, when they discriminate against us and they treat us bad in the workplaces, why? It's because they never wanted to hire us to begin with. So this repealing of the Civil Rights Act isn't some big, oh my God, we're a racist. We've always been a racist country. There's just far too many people that wanted to play face, save face, and act like they weren't so that they could get business, which brings me back to why I decided to leave those spaces that were telling me, do whatever you got to do to make the money. Take everybody's money. Don't worry if they're conservatives bonds. Just take their money. And I was like, why would I do that? That's like a slap in the face to my ancestors. Why would I do that? That's a slap in the face to me and my gay ass black girlfriend. Why would I take money from people who don't think I deserve rights? And you could say something like, oh, well, use their money to blah, 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 blah. I believe in energy. And I believe that energy, that money that they're giving me is a transfer of energy. And I know that they were willing to do any and everything to get that money. So why the fuck would I want to bring that kind of energy into my business? I don't do that. I will gladly suffer to build ethically than continue to build off of the backs of people that I'm here to serve. I've been saying that sentence since day one. And so, the idea that it's now the law of the land that people can discriminate, this is nothing new. It's just that now they don't have to hide it. And like I said in my reel this morning, people can now tell me to my face they don't want to hire me because I'm black, as opposed to beating around the bush. And I can tell them, great, I don't want to work with you because you're racist. And now we can be real instead of pretending like we're the land of the free. The whole world has been watching us be hypocrites. And now, as we've been saying, the veil is torn. It's like the Wizard of Oz, the unseen racist, the unseen hateful, the unseen greed that has been running this country and honestly the whole world. The veil has been torn, and now we can all see it for what it is. Elon, we can see it for what it is, and I'm happy about it, because one of my favorite things to tell my clients is you cannot fix what you won't face, and you can't heal what you won't deal with. And too much of America, too much of us is built off of, too much of what makes America America is us sweeping stuff under the rug. Oh, that was messy. Oh my God, election season, that was rough. But Thanksgiving, right? But Christmas, right? Like they set us up with all these holidays so that we can be focused on consuming, right? Because capitalism, they keep us so distracted so that we can't pay attention to shit like this. And what's happening right now is the veil is torn, the secret's out, the cat's out the bag. And while everyone else may think this is the worst thing ever, this is honestly one of the best things that could ever happen to us because you can't fix what you won't face. And growing up in America as a Black child, I heard racism isn't real. Oh, racism is old. And I'm like, motherfucker, did you see what your president just did? Nobody can tell me racism isn't here anymore. So this is actually good news for all of us. Yes, it's going to be dangerous. Yes, the pressure is going to be on. Yes, it's going to be a little bit more scary. But like I said before, our ancestors went through this and then some. And they didn't have technology, and they didn't have the right to carry. And right now, some of our rights, it's kind of scary. They could be getting stripped away from us. But I have so much confidence in the universe. I have so much confidence in the idea that what goes around comes around. I could share some pretty dark stories with you in my personal life from people that have harmed me and where they're at now. And it was by no doing of mine, but their own actions coming back to bite them. Because there are the same way there's laws in physics, like two things can't occupy the same space at the same time. The same thing goes for laws of energetic, spiritual laws of the universe. You can't just put out so much negative energy. You can't just go around ruining lives and not get yours. So while we all may not see what happened to these people, trust, like the pendulum is now swinging back. Like, yes, it looks crazy, but guess what? When it swings back even further every time. And our game plan needs to be better than let's just get a Democrat in the White House for 4 years. I'm talking like, when I think about how Republicans took over the Senate and Congress, when I think about how many of y'all only voted for president, but you didn't pay any attention to your local elections, when I think about how many people are so loud about the presidential election, but aren't paying attention to the laws that are being passed right under their nose, this is what I'm talking about. Okay. We have to be on point with this if we want this to end in our favor, if we want to get back, not just control, but our fucking rights. I'm not even out here trying to control people. I just want to live without worrying about things. I'm almost done. The other thing that came up today and themes that came up for me this past week, aside from the veil being torn, is the collective transformation that has to take place in order for us to do what I just talked about. And this is going to, I hope it hits some people in the jugular because they need it. One of the reasons why I'm seeing we've had such a hard time coming together is because we are so busy nitpicking. We're over here playing grammar police. Somebody writes a comment and they could be on the same side of the political spectrum as you, and you're too busy worried about whether they said you're or two or two. We're over here trying to do a movement, but people are shaming people that shop at Walmart. I'm like, you know that Walmart is for poor people. And yes, Walmart is an unethical company, but where do you want these people that can't afford to shop at other places to go? We can't get a movement together because we're so busy shaming each other for not being perfect. And I'm like, didn't a lot of you all leave the church because you got tired of people shaming you for not being perfect? And yet here you are trying to have your spiritual superiority or moral superiority because you don't shop at Walmart and you don't have a Tesla. If somebody has a Tesla, what the fuck do you want them to do? Right? Instead of focusing on what everybody's not doing or how everybody isn't as sold out for the cause or as woke as you, one of the things that we could do is start focusing on what's actually going to move the needle. And I'm gonna steal my quote from earlier: "Success leaves clues." Except you can do it the right way. They had a whole bunch of right-wing podcasters in the ears of our young boys while they're online and while they're streaming and this and that, filling them with this stuff for years. So when I hopped on here live yesterday and was like, y'all need to start creating your own content, right? We need more voices, not just mine. I mean it. Nobody, don't do this for the numbers. Don't do this because, oh my God, nobody watched my live. Oh my God, I don't give views. Who gives a fuck? I have so much content that people don't see right away. But when they do find me, they have enough to binge and they can see that I've been saying the same stuff for years. You could have that too, but you're not doing it. It doesn't have to be production worthy. It doesn't have to be top tier. I just need, this is how we build community. It's not just, oh, you heard a great message from someone and you kept it to yourself. No, you share it to your story. But I bet you have a way of telling that message in a way that I don't. Or in a way that's going to resonate with people that you know because I don't know them. So I'm encouraging as many people as I can. I need y'all to not just be, yes, online is good. I'm not going to knock people that are activists online, but we also get to do this within ourselves and within the community. And when I say within ourselves, you can't I learned this as a business owner. I can't hire someone to do something in my business that I haven't mastered myself yet. I got to learn how to do it. I can't just be like, oh, I don't want to do that. That's tough work. So let me go have her do it. So, in the same sense, when we're trying to get together and organize, create things, get a momentum going, that means that there has to be unity within this momentum. You have to be on the same page. You don't have to be the same belief. You don't have to think the same thoughts as me every day, but we got to be on the same page. You can't build something over here with other people unless you have mastered that within yourself. What am I saying? You got to have unity within yourself. You have to work on you. A lot of you, the reason why you can't do what I just said, get on here and make a live, make a post, make a written post, share something to your story, write a fucking thread, is because there's not, instead of unity, I'm going to say completeness, and like wholeness, confidence, reconciliation. A lot of us have not learned to reconcile the complexities within ourselves. And if you remember at the beginning of this podcast, I talked about why the world doesn't like different people. They want us all to be white, Christians, and thin, right? They don't like big people. They don't like dark people. They don't like this. They don't like people that don't speak. Like, it's too hard to control the masses, right? Don't follow their example. You are the masses. Within you, there is so much that maybe doesn't make sense to others and doesn't make sense to you, but it's all of you. And if you're rejecting pieces of it, like, oh, I don't like my voice, so I don't want to hear myself talk. Or me, I'm a typo queen. My ADHD, like, I type so fast, sometimes the words come out so quickly and I don't have time to do it. And for years I was like, man, people aren't gonna listen to me if I always have typos. I've learned to accept that I'm the fucking typo queen. So now I post and I don't care. That's what I mean by having unity with yourself. That's what I mean by reconciling all parts of you. I'm a little messy. I'm a little unorganized. I'm a little late. I am imperfect. And I'm still going to make moves and do what I can from this place of imperfection, because the only way that you get perfect at something is if you practice it. And if you're not practicing because you're too worried about being perfect, you're never going to get stuff done. And if you're one of my first business coaches told me, he's like, Bonds, if you have a message to speak and you're not sharing it because of your own fears and insecurities, you're being selfish. To which I told him, like, ow, but he's right. I don't mean to make anybody feel bad, but now is not the time to be in the corner worried about, well, I don't sound good on camera. Well, how do you get good at something? You practice. So you got to practice. Well, I don't know what to say. Well, just start talking. Speak from the heart. Oh, well, start practicing. Start putting things out there. But guys, I need everybody that follows me. Like, inner work is no longer, it's not an option. It's not like, oh, I have money for therapy. Go find a book. Go follow the holistic psychologist. Do what you need to do to work on yourself, because, and I'm laying the plane now, I have seen from my people a lot of unhealed trauma on threads, a lot of misogynoir, which I talked about in episode 2. That's up on YouTube right now. Siobhan Speaks Social Podcast, episode 2. I talked about misogynoir, which is this disdain towards Black women. And the same way that we have internalized misogyny, right? Where all of us are, there's an issue that we have with women, and it's deeply embedded. I used to have it. I used to walk around flicking off little girls when I was a little girl. I don't know why, but it was deeply embedded at me to be competitive with other little girls instead of collaborative. Right? I had to work on that. And what I'm seeing now, especially from my Black females, and this is everyone, but I'm talking as a Black female, because I can't tell white women what to do in their community. Everyone's telling white men what to do in their community. I walk on eggshells when I'm talking about what Black men get to do in our community, because I know that my heart for Black men. I don't want to be another person yelling at them, but Black women, that jealousy, that internalized misogyny, that crabs in a bucket mentality, that I like her until she says something that I don't like and now she needs to be canceled, that is projection at the highest motherfucking level. If someone triggers you that much that this is the way that you show out online, I want you to stop and ask yourself, what age am I acting like right now? Am I acting like a 38, 48, 50-year-old woman, or am I acting like a 5-year-old? That's called inner child healing. So if we're going to make a difference in this world and actually make sense, we need to be doing it from a place of whole, healed, integrity. You're never going to be fully healed, but this sort of behavior is why we lose credibility. We lose credibility when we're saying that we're united, but we're mad, like we're calling people out that shop at Starbucks. We lose accountability when we say that we're united, but one girl says she doesn't want to go to fan base, and now you think she's an Uncle Tom just because she has a personal opinion that she doesn't want to go on an app. We're never going, the biggest offenders of this, I would say, are the online leftists, who are absolutely batshit fucking crazy, some of them. A whole bunch of people followed me on threads for whatever reason. And mind you, I'm a I'm a personal trainer, I'm a nutritionist, and I'm a health coach. I'm a holistic practitioner. I use holistic methods, right? And so I mentioned, hey, people are healthier that get sunshine every day, walk and drink their water. Oh my God! Toxic diet culture! And I'm just looking at them like, the fuck is wrong with you? Every human needs water. Every human needs to walk, and sunlight is for organic organisms. This is what I mean by healing. If things like that trigger you to where you just crash out and you can no longer think, hey, this person offered valuable information to me and I don't like this one thing they said, but I can still get valuable information from them. When you instead respond like a fucking toddler, that is a clear sign that we still have so much work to do. And you can't go being the leaders of organizations. I'm not saying you can't do stuff. I'm not saying wait till you're perfect, but you're going to taint some of the things that you touch with your unhealed trauma. And so, for the love of God, I'm begging men, women, everyone that wants to make a difference in this world, before you get online and start spewing your unhealed trauma all over the place and discrediting the movement and making them look at us like we're a bunch of emotional people who don't have their shit together, work on yourself. And then while you're working on yourself, work in your community. And as you do this, I promise you, we're going to see a lot better than what we saw this last election, because that campaign on the left side, that was a shit show. I'm not talking about Kamala's campaign. I'm talking about the groundwork. I'm talking about anybody on the left and the way that we treated people, the way we treated each other, and the way we treated anyone that was not as intelligent as us. If someone came in the comments asking questions, instead of having grace and tact and informing them, you should have known this, do your research. If it was you, how would you respond to you asking a question, someone responding like that? Probably not very well. So, guys, we got a lot of work to do. At the end of the day, it starts within. So if you're with me to the end, I want to thank you guys for tuning in for today's podcast. I'll be back next week and maybe dropping some shorts in between. If you got value from this podcast, don't forget to leave a comment on this video, subscribe, and share it with someone that would get value. My birthday is Tuesday. And if you have gotten value from me, either from this show or from any piece of content, you can cash at me, $ my first name, SIOBHAN, and my nickname, Bonds. It's Siobhan Bonds. And I'm out, guys. I'm going to go pray. I'm going to talk to the ancestors. I'm going to continue to fortify my spirit for the work that we have to come. See you guys.